The world is a buggy place. Gardens in particular attract insects by the thousands. Some are bad bugs, our description of bugs that damage garden or farm plants. Others are good bugs. They eat bad bugs, or they pollinate flowers, or they help the composting process, or they benefit the garden in countless other ways. I'm at Butterfly Farms in Vista, California, where the focus is protecting and conserving native butterflies. Here they study western monarchs, swallowtails, checkered whites, and others. They share what they learn in hands-on experiences with children and adults. Tell me why butterflies are important.
Well, butterflies are important because they are a pollinator, and above and beyond that, they're an indicator species. So when we're seeing this loss of population in these great numbers, we know that once whatever's happening with the butterflies, it's going to move on and move up the food chain.
So why are butterfly numbers declining?
Well, there's a lot of theories about butterfly population decline, climate change, the urbanization of our native landscape, the use of pesticides, but we don't actually really know, and that's a lot of the research that we're doing here.
While butterflies mainly pollinate flowers, other kinds of pollinators take care of fruits and vegetables. Without pollinators, we'd have no apples and no avocados, no peaches, no cucumbers, and no squash. Other insects play different roles. Ladybugs, for example, eat aphids. There are beetles that eat whiteflies, wasps that kill worms, and many, many more. Every one of them is important. Butterflies and their beneficial insect brethren are at work all around us, but we hardly ever notice. So we're going on a bug hunt. We're going to find out what beneficial insects do, who's keeping track, and how to bring more of them to our farms and gardens. Today on A Growing Passion. In nature, there's no such thing as a good bug or a bad bug. Both are labels, judgments really, that we assign them. Technically, bugs are a subset of insects. They have mouth parts designed for piercing or sucking. But informally, we use the term bug for many different kinds of insects. There are countless insects native to where each of us lives. They burrow in the soil, fly through the air, creep along the ground, or hop from spot to spot. Sometimes they find their way to areas where they're not native. Most insect foreigners are pretty harmless, but some can become huge problems, destroying habitats or farm crops, or carrying diseases to people and animals. UC Riverside entomologist Mark Hoddle specializes in biological controls for invasive insect pests. He directs the Center for Invasive Species Research and travels the world in search of bugs to fight invasive pests. So it sounds like we're vulnerable to a lot of invasive pests.
We are vulnerable to invasive pests, and California on average gets about 9 of these invasive insect pests each year.
One recent and alarming invasive pest is the Asian citrus psyllid, or ACP. This tiny bug carries a deadly citrus bacteria responsible for the near destruction of the Florida citrus industry. It's threatening California's citrus too.
So Asian citrus psyllid, it's not native to California, it's an invasive pest, and we think it's native to the Indian subcontinent. And because Asian citrus psyllid really likes to feed on citrus, people have accidentally moved the bug around the world as we have moved citrus plants into new areas. It only arrived in California in 2008. It's a small insect, about the size of an aphid, and it has a mouth part that's like a needle, and it sticks that needle-like mouth part into the plant, and it sucks juice out of the plant. And when it does that, it can accidentally inject into the plant a bacterium that causes a lethal citrus disease called Huanglongbing.
That's a big name.
Huanglongbing's a big name. It's Chinese for yellow dragon disease, but we refer to it as HLB in California.
While HLB has run rampant in Florida, Texas, and Mexico, the first infected tree was found in California in 2012 on a lemon branch grafted onto a pomelo tree in a backyard in Los Angeles County. Once HLB infects a tree, it clogs the flow of nutrients. The leaves turn blotchy yellow. The fruit stays small, green, lopsided, and bitter. And eventually, the tree dies. Any Asian citrus psyllid that visits an infected tree can pick up the bacteria and carry it to the next tree, and the next, and the next. That makes HLB a serious threat to California's backyard gardeners and its $3 billion citrus industry. The ideal way to control the spread of HLB is to control the Asian citrus psyllid. So Hoddle went searching for the psyllid's natural enemies.
So for the last 2.5 years, we've been working in Pakistan looking for these tiny little parasites that lay their eggs inside the nymphs of the Asian citrus psyllid.
Those are so tiny I can barely see them. What Hoddle found was a tiny wasp called Tamarixia. It controls Asian citrus psyllids by parasitizing the psyllids when they're in their nymph stage. Hoddle collected the nymphs in Pakistan and brought them to California under a permit issued by the USDA.
So under the microscope now, you're watching a female parasite, Tamarixia, and she's laying her egg underneath an Asian citrus psyllid nymph. And she uses an ovipositor or an egg-laying tube to lay that egg underneath the body of the psyllid nymph. That egg will hatch. Then that wasp larva, which looks like a tiny little fly maggot, will scrape away at the belly of the citrus psyllid nymph. It'll make a hole. And then that little larva will move inside the psyllid and basically eat the guts of that psyllid, killing it.
The larvae goes on to pupate, sort of like a butterfly pupates, and hatches out into a Tamarixia wasp that looks for the next Asian citrus psyllid nymph to deposit its eggs in. UCR is where the idea for biological controls was born back in 1919. The university's Center for Invasive Species Research has an insectary, that's basically an insect nursery, and a secure quarantine facility where researchers like Hoddle bring back insects from around the world to study. After Hoddle found the parasite for HLB and showed it wouldn't cause even more problems, the California Department of Food and Agriculture stepped in to raise masses of the critters in its own nearby insectary and release them across Southern California. So this is what a bug factory looks like, huh?
That's right.
And what do we got here?
Well, we have the natural enemy of the Asian citrus psyllid. We raise the Asian citrus psyllid in these cages so that they can be food for our natural enemies, which we then release into the field.
So is that what these little things are up here?
Yeah, about 1 millimeter long.
That's it. That's the thing that's going to kill the Asian citrus psyllid.
Very tiny, but it does the job.
These tiny, stingless wasps are sucked up one by one using a gentle electric aspirator attached to a collection vial. This is painstaking but essential work in California's aggressive battle against HLB.
Just try to avoid the bigger ACP there and just get the Tamarixia in the vial.
Oh my God, they're so tiny. In just a little more than a year, HLB has been spotted in almost every agricultural region of California. These tiny wasps are our best hope at keeping it from spreading further into orchards and backyards. This is a very labor-intensive process. I gotta suck every single one up by hand, and they do hundreds of thousands of these.
960,000 last year.
In California's battle against HLB, teams of researchers and entomologists grow and release Tamarixia across the region. While biological controls help lower the population of bad bugs, they never entirely eliminate them. But beneficial insects do help keep the bad guys in check, while researchers search out additional solutions. Hello, nice to meet you, Ron.
Welcome to the bug farm.
Thank you. Hi, Kyra.
Nice to meet you.
I've wanted to see what you're doing here for a long time. Imagine your farm or garden is infested with a pest that's causing lots of damage. Instead of using a chemical spray, you're hoping for a beneficial insect that can do the job. Where do you go to find the good guys that battle the bad guys? One place is Rincon Vitova in Ventura, California. This is an insectary, a bug farm that grows wasps, flies, and ladybugs, among others.
So we're gonna go right in here to this first door. This is where we grow the Lindorus beetle.
The Lindorus beetle.
Come on in.
Feels kind of damp in here.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's all rotten squash. What am I looking at?
So what we're seeing here is production of the Lindorus lopanthe, the scale predator. So we've got tons of banana squash on here. And all of the banana squash are covered in this tiny little crusty gray stuff, is an actual insect called scale.
Ooh, can I see it?
Yeah.
Scale is a common insect that feeds on squash, citrus, and many different kinds of plants. The Lindorus beetle feeds on the scale insect, controlling its spread. This beetle is just one of the critters grown at this insectary. And just like any other farming operation, the livestock here need food, shelter, and the right living conditions to thrive.
This is the adult fly room.
Yeah, what is that?
So we're growing adult flies in here, just the standard house fly, Musca domestica.
Okay, wait just a second. Why are you growing houseflies?
We grow fly parasites. That's our market crop, what we're selling, the product.
Yes.
So in order to grow the parasitic wasp, we need to grow the host.
Okay.
So we have cages and cages of flies in here. There are about 60,000 flies per cage. So we grow them so we can harvest their eggs.
Are they going to come flying out at us now?
You want to stick your hand in there?
No, not really. Oh, but you're going to.
Oh, yeah. Now, some are going to come out.
Oh, I can definitely hear them. Okay, what am I looking at?
So this is just a water jar. We've got to have a way to give them water where they're not going to drown in their water source. So we give them a little watering jar with some cotton batting around the base so that
So
they
they're
can land on
drinking
it.
right here,
They are,
right?
absolutely. So they're drinking and laying eggs on here, and we'll collect the eggs off of the cotton.
It takes 10 days to produce about 1 tablespoon of eggs from each fly cage. They're collected, then hatched out in another room.
All right, so we're going to go right next door.
Do I want to?
Well, this is where it gets worse. We've kind of been building you up to this next room. After you.
Uh-oh. Oh, I know what I'm looking at. Oh, yucky.
So this is the maggot room.
I was afraid you were going to say that.
This is where we take the eggs that we've collected from the adult flies, and we bring them in here, and we lay down about 2 teaspoons into each one of these pans. So in here we have a mixture of rice hulls and wheat bran and milk and a few other ingredients.
So basically that's why it smells bad in here, because that's rotting.
Right. This is breaking down, decomposing, and they're feeding off all of the bacteria and fungi in there. So what we get is self-harvested maggots. And we get about 20,000 to 30,000 out of each one of these pans.
That's so gross.
Do you want to hold them?
No, thank you very much. I don't mind looking at them, but I'm not interested in holding them.
It just tickles.
Within a few days, the maggots pupate into a cocoon, a hard brown shell about the size of a fat grain of rice. This is where it gets interesting.
These are what all of this work has been building up towards. Wow. This is a sting cage in which we have the parasitic wasps and the fly pupae. So all of those maggots that we were just looking at in the back that were spinning their pupal casing and getting ready to turn into a fly, it's at that point where we put these into the sting cage with the little wasps. And then the wasps spend 2 days marching around and laying eggs inside of as many of these little pupae as they can get to.
So I'm looking at this, I see these little things crawling around. These are the parasites.
Yep.
And they're the ones that you use for biological control of flies, house flies.
Yep.
So they're crawling around. They kind of look like they're sparkling, actually.
Isn't that beautiful? That's the effect of the light hitting their silvery wings.
Now, only
just
someone
shimmer.
like you would consider this to be beautiful, I have to say.
Sparkle and shimmer.
Rincon Vitova sells the dark brown parasitized fly pupae for controlling fly infestations, especially around horses, cows, and other animals. Every day, half the parasitized flies get cycled back into the system to ensure a constant supply of parasites. The rest are shipped to customers around the country. Now, if I had a fly infestation at my house, would I buy these from you?
You could, absolutely. The name of the game whenever you're using biocontrol is always to start early and preventively. Every adult female fly can lay up to 800 eggs in a day. Each one of these little wasps coming out of here can handle up to 30 more pupa. So you can see how quickly things would get out of control if you didn't start early and keep augmenting with the biocontrol.
The staff at Rincon Vitova are passionate about bugs, both indoors and out. In their gardens, they planted a hedgerow to show visitors how to attract naturally occurring beneficial insects into farms and gardens. Ron sucked up some bugs to show me.
We'll suck up some of the bugs off of the crop plants, and we'll find lots and lots of pests, maybe a couple of beneficial insects. And then we'll go and sample the habitat where there's flowering plants there. And we'll see a wide range of little parasitic wasps and ladybugs and syrphid flies and lacewing and all these other beneficial insects. So we can give them a direct visual experience that here in this row of flowering plants, they've got this wonderful resource of beneficial insects. They didn't have to purchase and they didn't have to do anything but give them a home.
This is cool. I can't wait to see what we've got in here. A lot of stuff.
This would be neat to see, yeah.
We looked at Ron's catch under his video microscope.
Okay, so that's one of the ichneummonid wasps. Yeah, so that looks like a thrip. This is a plant feeder, but then it provides food for the Oreos, a minute parrot bug. And so, yeah, these are pests, but this is on the flowers that are next to our garden or next to our field. The pest on the habitat is not an economic problem. It's food for the beneficials. So it's a bug world out there. We think it's appropriate to go with that and support these beneficial insects, work with nature instead of trying to beat her into submission.
I love that concept of a bug-eat-bug world.
Yeah.
That's great. Thank you. While some see flies as pests, others see them as valuable allies. Here at Cicada Seed Company's Salinas Research Station, flies serve as pollinators in their vegetable seed breeding programs.
We've been releasing flies into radish cages that we're using to increase stock seed of a new radish variety. And we have a new hybrid that we're very excited about, and we need to increase those parent lines and do it as quickly as possible. The flies are a captive labor force in that task.
Few realize that flies are second only to bees as important pollinators in our gardens. Flies are attracted to nectar, a sweet liquid flowers produce to attract pollinators. As they feed on nectar, the flies walk across the flower and pick up pollen, which they transfer to the next flower and the next.
People consider honeybee to be the common pollinator, but flies are very easy for us to work with. They're much less expensive, and they really manage pollination and radish very well.
For seed producers, the way a vegetable is pollinated is important. They want to grow plants that are true to type, meaning the same as the parent plant, the same size, color, shape, flavor, growing habit, days to maturity, and harvest, for consistency, and so they can guarantee the seeds they sell. So, Cicada breeds its stock plants in these special pollination cages, basically mesh boxes built over the radish beds in their fields. Cicada's lead researcher, Naoki Yaya, buys flies as pupa and places them in the cages. As they hatch, the mesh keeps the flies in and other pollinators out. That way, there's no possibility of unexpected crosses. Flies work well in small areas like these cages. They don't roam around the way bees do. Flies aren't as sensitive to temperatures either, so they don't mind the cool, windy climate in Salinas. And these hard workers spend more of the day in search of nectar and pollinating flowers. Flies might seem unsavory, but the results of their labor can be mouth-watering. Next time you see a fly flit from one surface to the next, try not to think of it as a pest. Instead, think of it as a pollinator, working for companies like Cicada Seed to bring something new and delicious to a farm or garden near you. The city of Los Angeles is dynamic, diverse, and ever-changing. And just like the people change, the wildlife changes too. It's hard to miss the birds and bunnies, but smaller critters are often overlooked. There are some that even scientists have missed, at least until now. The Natural History Museum of Los Angeles County is working to describe the insect biodiversity of LA's urban area and the surrounding regions. You might think that only scientists can do this kind of work, but that's not the case. The scientists design the process for data collection. They manage it, and they collect some of the data, but much of it comes from everyday people. These people are called citizen scientists. Imagine harnessing the nature eyes of the 10 million people that live in Los Angeles County. That's what citizen science is all about, inviting the everyday person into the scientific process and contributing to our understanding of the natural world.
We are in the middle of Los Angeles in a very urbanized area. Our nature gardens is a 3.5-acre oasis in the middle of this concrete jungle.
Today, a group of 10, 11, and 12-year-olds is collecting data about pollinators under the direction of the museum's citizen science staff.
The Great Sunflower Project is a citizen science project out of San Francisco State University, and they ask people to count how many times a pollinator lands on different flowers that people are looking at.
These nature navigators are counting pollinators that visit the museum's pollinator meadow. They use the same tools and techniques as scientists. They sit and they watch the same 4 flowers for 15 minutes at a time. It's a tall order for any adult, let alone a kid.
It's a very important age group for us to work with because they're finishing up elementary school, entering into junior high, still very excited about nature and science, and we want to continue that excitement. We have 3 more minutes to go.
And what have you seen so far?
I've seen 6 western honeybees.
Wow.
And a fly.
Wow. No beetles, huh?
No beetles.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and stop. Excellent, you guys did.
The data the children collect is submitted to the Great Sunflower Project at San Francisco State University. Their data is added to the database of pollinator observations going back to 2008. People across the U.S. and Canada survey their yards, gardens, schools, and parks, helping amass an enormous body of information about pollinators. From this, scientists map pollinator populations to determine where pollinators, bees primarily, are doing well and where they're doing poorly.
Raise your hand if you did not have any pollinators land on your flowers. But that is still data. So let's think about this. So we are still finishing up our first year in our study, but as we continue to participate in this program, we'll be able to compare year after year and be able to see are pollinators increasing, decreasing, how often are they visiting the gardens, how is it changing?
The garden here is lovely. It's an oasis rich with the colors and smells and sounds of nature. It invites you to slow down and take a closer look.
We know that a lot of people don't have a huge amount of experience being in nature here in the heart of Los Angeles. And so we wanted to help people get their nature eyes on. And it's the same kind of thing that scientists do. So you can come to the museum at any age and you can participate and really help to help our scientists and help us to better understand the city, what's going on around us with nature. Science is sometimes seen as a black box, like there's a question and then a scientist figures out an answer and we don't know what's going on in the middle. And citizen science kind of blows up that black box because the people are in the middle helping to answer those questions and doing the actual science.
Citizen science helps connect people to nature by teaching them to use their nature eyes and their curious minds to observe and collect data. It's an elegant, efficient, and engaging solution where everything and everyone counts. Insects help us in a myriad of ways, whether they're pollinating plants, controlling agricultural pests, or burrowing in the garden. They're a valuable part of every ecosystem on Earth. Welcoming beneficial insects to the garden is more than just encouraging a ladybug or two. The more the good guys control the bad guys, the better the balance of nature, and the better it supports the plants, the animals, the habitat, and the people too. I'm Nan Sterman. Thanks for watching.